So, is this you?
Come on, you're talking to a pro here. I know how to handle the curves like an expert.
Me?
I won't lose next time.
So, if you haven't watched our previous videos, which are the worst acceleration vehicles in CrossWorlds and the worst speed vehicles in CrossWorlds, you may not know what these tiers are. To quickly provide a summary of these tiers, the worst handling vehicle to use in the level 4 metagame is the first tier. The second tier is the worst handling vehicle to use with just bagging builds in general. Then we have the worst handling vehicle to use with quick recovery, and then we have the general worst handling vehicle.
With that also, I have to bring this up for everybody right now. Handling vehicles, by far, are limited on what they're able to use. It's mainly because of their stats and their design. Design aside, right? I've only been able to see people use handling vehicles use level 4, and it's absolutely frustrating.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because when it comes to time trial, especially in supersonic speed, you actually see a fair few handling vehicles. The main three you're going to see are Neolitron, Minecart, and Paddy Wagon, funny enough, because they have some of the highest speed stat in the class.
Wait, hold up, time out. You see Paddy Wagon in time trial now?
Yeah, Paddy Wagon actually is a time trial vehicle because of its high speed. Let's go to the stats real quick while we're on this topic. So, to start with the worst vehicle to use with level 4, we can immediately mark out some of these vehicles, funny enough, right away. Mainly, it actually would have to be Minecart, Paddy Wagon, Neolitron, I feel like, are three of the easiest ones to mark out, especially Neolitron, funny enough, because Neolitron actually has the highest speed, the highest handling, and lower than average boost, if not lowest boost in the class, which is kind of funny.
I say it's min-maxed perfectly. You want my honest call?
It is pretty min-maxed. I think the big thing is that I think why it's not that bad. Like, at least it's not the worst in the class for sonic speed, because in supersonic speed, this vehicle is amazing because it's got literally the highest handling stat in the class next to Rouge's car, which is Lip Spider, and then Amy's car, which is Pink Cabriolet. So those three vehicles are just all around really good vehicles. You might notice one other thing. We do have the Pac-Man mobile from my stat calculations. This is what I assume are the stats we're going to be getting, and it's kind of funny because the stats are a little interesting because it's...
I'm sorry. I need to jump in right now. Please, SEGA, free my boy Pac-Man. I want to play him right now.
Nah, you're going to the Pac dungeon with you, buddy. Back to the Pac. You're going right in, back to the story mode. TT the Pac-Man game, buddy.
Oh, no.
Anyways, so what do we think is going to be the worst SS handling vehicle right now? Because honestly, we do see a couple of these vehicles get used. I do see Amy's main car. I do see some Neolitron. I definitely see Minecart. I've seen some Paddy Wagon, and I've seen Hot Hatch. But I don't know about the other ones.
I can tell you right now, I have never seen anyone bring up Little Lady or Ancient Throne into the multiplayer ever. It's that and Fossil Rock. Fossil Rock's like rare to see.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen Fossil Rock at all. I think Fossil Rock has been one of the rarest like base vehicles in any of the classes, genuinely. Fossil Rock's stats are 15 speed, which is the lowest in the class, 48 acceleration, which is actually really good, 54 handling, which is like the medium level handling stat in this class, with the lowest being 48 for Minecart. We'll get on the Minecart why it can't be bad in a minute. It's got 24 power, which is the second lowest in the class stat-wise, and it's got 39 boost, which is actually surprisingly really good for the class.
Yeah, out of everything here. So, like, stat-wise, it looks okay. I feel like it's character-based that fixes up the stats at most. Like, you probably need to throw a speed character in that.
It absolutely is. This is the one hard part about handling vehicles, is because unlike acceleration and speed vehicles, handling vehicles have a lot of the good stats that you really want. Mainly, they have a really good amount of boost, and then they have a lot of handling, which allows you to take pretty much any turn you want. The biggest caveat to them is their speed stats relatively low. But if you're using these vehicles with like level 4, like a lot of people are, it's very hard to see the weakness of these vehicles in action. But
no, actually, no, there is a little bit of a weakness right there. Let me just jump in here quick, right, Joker? They can snake relatively well, and they have more power than the Extreme Gear class right here. But the one thing that saves them compared to Extreme Gear when they're using level 4 is they have the acceleration to make up for it compared to the other. I could be wrong right now when I say this. You can fact check me later, but this is what my current belief is, because every time I see a level 4 Pink Array running around, right, they're able to get away from me faster than a normal boost gear, which is weird to say.
That is actually really interesting. I didn't even think about that. I do know for a fact that there are a lot of Hot Hatch level 4 runners in the game. I see a lot of Hot Hatch base vehicle. So, real quick, to touch on this, Minecart is considered actually one of the better handling vehicles in the game, if not one of the best in general. But
Wait, it's one of the better vehicles? I thought it was just because for the memes they were using it for.
no, actually, stat-wise, it's got the highest speed in the class, has the second highest boost stat, and still has a relatively good acceleration, handling, and the highest power in the class. Like, it is very maxed for a lot of stats. The handling at being at 48, being significantly lower than most of the vehicles in the class, does come off as bad. But this is coming from the fact that a lot of the characters, the only character class that is very bad handling is power, and even then you can still get an easy 50 handling out of the minecart while still min-maxing your boost and speed by quite a lot. Like, some of the best power vehicles, or best speed and power characters, are actually able to min-max the minecart very well. So I think minecart is easily like one of the best handling vehicles, but this is not the video for that. So
We're talking about the worst.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I think on the chopping block automatically, I actually would like to say 2 vehicles potentially.
Oh, okay. Your turn to do the surprise 2 pick or 3 pick.
I think out of the worst vehicles in the class, I would like to say it's kind of sad because I actually used Ancient Throne in my first TT attempts, but I think Ancient Throne might be in contention for one of the worst handling vehicles to use within the level 4 metagame, but also maybe in general. But we'll talk about that later, but I think Ancient Throne's on there. I think Little Lady might actually be potentially on there as well, because it's got less boost stat and less power, but the handling might be better. And then I would like to say maybe Lip Spider, funny enough, because Lip Spider has less boost. If not Lip Spider, then maybe like Moto Beetle. One of those 4, I would say, are the big contenders for me currently.
Weirdly enough, I want to say is like I used Lip Spider, Moto Beetle, Hot Hatch, and Neo Lytron, but based on what I've seen online, also, or worse in general, right? Is what we're talking about correctly right now?
Yep, the worst one to use with level 4.
Actually, use with level 4. Ew, this is. I'm still leaning towards Fossil Rock.
I can see that.
It's just something to this like yells to me. It's like, yeah, no, it's like Fossil Rock just does not seem like you'll be able to keep up with it properly.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I think will separate these vehicles is because if people are using Hot Hatch online, right, with level 4, then they're going to be using Lip Spider to some degree because they have the same speed and boost while having reasonably the same handling stats. So it's like, we can't really put Lip Spider, right, because people use Hot Hatch. Same thing with Amy's vehicle. We can't put those 2. So I feel like if we want to make a contender, it actually might be Moto Beetle because it's got 33 boost while having 21 speed, so it's going to be much harder for it to get those level 4s off when it needs it, and it has less handling overall. With Ancient Throne having worse handling, but it has significantly higher boost, literally hitting a whole nother soft cap with ease.
That is true. That is hitting the soft cap right now. I think Moto Beetle was meant as like they were meant for the AI teams to use Spin Drift with, so they were meant to be with more power.
Yeah, but I think because of that, I think that actually brings it in contention to being really bad because it puts too many power stat. It has too much power stat while taking away from handling and boost, which from what we've come to know as what are the best stats for using level 4 with, that actually is really bad for it. Like, yeah, the speed's nice, but the fact that it has so much less boost when you weight the stats from compared to everything else, like the only other vehicle that comes close to it stat-wise with weighting it would be Victoria Carriage and Neo Lytron, if I'm correct. But the thing is,
we let Neo Lytron pass because it's a good vehicle in TT.
Neo Lytron's just a really good SSS vehicle TT specifically, but also it just has 60 handling, whereas Motobug has 54, and it still has the same boost and speed stat, so the weights are a lot different. So it's not losing points out on acceleration and power, whereas it's gaining in the handling stat, right? So I think Neo Lytron...
I'm sorry, let me just cut through right here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Doug, for everything.
No, you're good.
But if that's the case, then I'm going from World Match View, and also looking at these stat numbers, I feel like then Victoria Carriage might be the worst one because, yeah, it has higher handling, and that's pretty much it compared to the Motobug. But I think the Moto Beetle. I think the Moto Beetle will be a better vehicle overall. It's just why one stat number difference.
I think the reason why Moto Beetle's bad, let's not forget, with level 4, the power stat doesn't matter basically, because remember, when you're in the invincibility state, you can't get bumped anymore, right? So because Moto Beetle having more stats and power than handling, it's just losing out on points that could be pushed closer to hitting a soft cap or being used to help take turns better, where it has this power stat that it can't really fully utilize against people using level 4 because you can't lose rings when you bump them in level 4, and they can actually still bump you. So
and you lose rings too now, which I've realized.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why Moto Beetle, like, yeah, it may allow Moto Beetle to not lose rings when it's not in level 4 in the level 4 state. But I think the problem is because it's giving up, it's just got too much power. Like, even if we're looking at like Little Lady with 39 and 15 for its boost and speed stat respectively, even then it's got more handling and it doesn't dump its stats in the power and it puts it in the boost and acceleration. So if it gets hit, it can get right back up to speed. It can get more drip boosts off more consistently, things of that nature. I think that makes Moto Beetle really bad for that reason. And I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I think Moto Beetle actually is pretty bad to use it with or in the level 4 metagame because it's got so much
power. You make
power.
a compelling argument. That's I'm sorry. You're making a compelling argument right now. It's just like I'm looking at all the numbers. I'm trying to compare it to everything else I see right now. Unfortunately, like Victoria's carriage was like my only argument for it, and I still want to say I stand by it, but I'm like torn between it because like the level 4 is not gonna make that much of a difference because your invincibility at all times. It's just between these two, and I'd rather just say Moto Beetle will just get the chopping block for this one. It's really hard.
Especially knowing that you're not very fond of the handling class because of how they're played online and how the builds are. I understand that it's a struggle. It really is hard to pick one because I have more experience with the handling class in general, but even then, these vehicles don't see a lot of fun use online. They're usually all just locked down to level 4 or some kind of quick recovery variant, or even potentially a bagging variant. But you don't see a lot of like slipstream, ring gain, things of that nature.
None of those actually.
But unlike slipstream, ring gain, we don't have that as a tier, so we're going to be going on to the worst handling vehicle to bag with. So based on your stats. What was it? Power, handling, and speed were the 3 best when it comes to bagging, right?
It was power, acceleration, and speed.
Okay, so if that's the case, then we want to look at vehicles that have relatively good power while having good speed and acceleration. I actually think Fossil Rock is actually in contention then, immediately, but it's got really good acceleration. So maybe it could be the Victoria Carriage, it could be potentially Little Lady, it could even be Lip Spider, funny enough. Because I think Lip Spider might be the worst.
Could just get sniped out of here by pure accident, which is ironic.
I also think maybe Amy's vehicle could also be on the chopping block for bagging specifically because it's got 15 speed and 21 power, which are the 2 lowest stats of the class. It's just
you
it's
could also
tough.
Throw in Hot Hatch also in that category because it forgoes boost and to more of the handling.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's easy.
This is hard.
This is hard, but I also think might be easier because we've already limited the pool down to Lip Spider, Pink Carolette, and Hot Hatch. Even Fossil Rock, like I said, it could be Fossil Rock, but its acceleration is just way too high. Like 48 acceleration is crazy for the handling stat or the handling class. Like it's really hard to just be like, oh yeah, Fossil Rock, garbage, done. I think, in my personal opinion, I would argue that it's probably going to be Lip Spider, mainly because it has less acceleration, and so it's going to miss out on a soft cap depending on what character you use, and its power is relatively low. But I think with Amy, you can make a bigger argument for Amy's car because of the 15 speed and the 21 power, so you're never going to hit. You're going to miss at least one of the soft caps one way or another.
Yeah, I was say because also you want to bring up the fact that Amy and Little Ladies of the Cream's personal car almost share the same stats, minus the handling and acceleration.
Yeah, and the big thing is since the acceleration handling stats are so close and they're so high, it's going to make less of a difference long term because the soft caps kind of taper off. So the less speed you have and less power, the worse off these vehicles are going to be. And I think that's what's actually, from my opinion at least, is going to make this vehicle worse, or Amy's vehicle just worse, because its speed is 15, its power is 21. I don't see how any other vehicle can underflow it in a sense. But I don't know. What are your opinions on this medal?
I'm looking at these numbers right now, and mind you, I have seen a bias because I've seen Kami Mackin online so many times using Pink Cabaret mixed in with some other car parts. But I have never seen anyone use Little Lady, at least like mixed around enough to prove that it's a good vehicle choice entirely. So for me, I have to call out Little Lady as being the worst bagging set, even though it has a better acceleration for it.
Yeah, because if we're going to weight some of these other stats, having the handling being 3 lower might not be the problem. I think maybe the acceleration being 3 lower does, because 5 acceleration is actually a lot to ask for some characters. But it's not like you're... Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're not going to get it with most characters, but that could be enough depending on which character you choose. But I don't know. This one's really tough.
I'm looking at numbers entirely, right? Because we already narrowed it down from being 4 vehicles to now 2. And the lower acceleration and the lower power, right? It's automatically what's gonna kill one of these vehicles. And like being completely non-biased right now, it has to be Pink Cap, right? It's Amy's car.
Yeah, it sucks because Amy's stats min-max this pretty well for what she wants to do for the most part in a lot of scenarios, I feel like, mate. But I don't know. I don't play enough Amy, and I don't know her stats off the top of my head fully. But I think the fact that it's 15 speed, 45 acceleration, and 21 power, and Little Lady was on the chopping block with 3 more acceleration, I think it matters more than losing 3 handling because, again, higher stats have less of a it tapers off less the long term. So I think having lower acceleration here, the lowest power and the lowest speed in the class, all make it much worse than any of the other vehicles for bagging specifically. This doesn't mean it can't work, obviously, but I feel like it makes it just slightly worse than Little Lady in this regard for this specific setup. I don't think her car is like terrible for like level 4. I do know there some people run Amy's base car for level 4, but I think as a bagging car, it just doesn't hit the marks it needs. I think it just barely misses the marks it needs in order to be a pretty good bagging car. Now, again, this doesn't mean anything about like, oh, you can't run it because, I mean, crap, I've run pure Ancient Throne online and have gotten a lot of success. I've run it in TT and gotten success even though Neo Lightron's just 20 times better. But like,
any vehicle on this list is capable of getting you a dub. It is only if you are skilled enough to make the lines, use your items wisely, and don't get messed up by desync.
Unless it's the Pac-Mobile, because it doesn't exist currently in patch 1.2.0.
Unless you're going to the files, which we don't advocate, but
hey, you can mod the game, make your characters look cool, and have some cool music. Please do not decide, hey, I don't want to pay for the DLC. Like, come on, guys.
Come on, guys. Like Sega got robbed from the Game Awards. We do not need to see this.
Come on, don't rob from Sega. We got Pac-Man Repack 2. That game was pretty good. Come on, guys, give Pac-Man some love. All right, we've been messing around. All right, buddy, you're done. That's it. You're getting sniped out. All right, actuality. So let's go into the worst quick recovery car. So quick recovery, big misconception that we accidentally have talked about on these videos is power mattering a lot for a certain reason, and one of those reasons is recovering faster. Funny enough, it's a misconception. I've fallen for it, and I think I've said it in the video a couple times, so that's on me.
That's also on me as well because I fall for it.
Yeah, but power is still a very important stat just to not lose rings. So this is where I actually think Little Lady might come into play if it wasn't for the fact that it's 48 handle or acceleration. That is the only that is the only thing it's saving it from being like, yep, boom, you're done. This is where I would argue Lip Spider might be really bad with quick recovery. It has 24 power, which is really low for the class. It has the second
42 acceleration.
Yeah, it's 42 acceleration, which is, I think, the second lowest acceleration because Neo Lightron exists. But if it wasn't, it'd be the worst acceleration in the class. It now has 18 speed, so it's in the middle ground. It's literally right dead smack in the middle. But
what's saving it is its boost and its handling.
But anyways, it has 60 handling. It's gonna handle good. All these cars will handle good, but it's just got the second lowest. It's got the second lowest boost, the second lowest speed, the second lowest acceleration, and it's got the second lowest power. How do you have the second lowest in everything? Rouge, I thought you were a capable thief. The only thing you stole was a messed up D&D card. Like, roll for your own stats. Get some initiative.
You know, low-key, I think that just Donpa just hates her enough to say like, all right, cool, you're getting the worst vehicle in the next game.
Donpa really just said, you're done. You took too many emeralds.
You stole my plans and sold to Eggman, therefore, worst car.
Dude, I took the master plans, and now she gets the punishment for it.
Basically.
But yeah, I think it's kind of crazy because
has to be the quickest like call you ever made because
I think it is for both of us.
Yeah, it's like I can't argue with you. I was gonna make the same suggestion right here. I was like, I was worried about the last part you said like, please don't pick Lip Spider because like I see you being worse somewhere else, and then like I'm glad I convinced you out of it. But yeah, let's just slap Lip Spider in the worst category right here for quick recovery.
It just feels so bad to say it. Just it's so like decisively, yeah, Lip Spider, you're done. But like genuinely to everyone that's watching or to anyone that watches this, like it's hard to argue. And I just want to go on a quick tangent real fast to just try to like make it a little bit easier to understand why we picked it. And I know I already said it. It's got the second worst stat in every category besides handling, where it has the best. But like think of it, if you're trying to use quick recovery, you need to have a lot of acceleration and you need to have enough power to be able to not lose rings when you're bumped. But you need to have a lot of acceleration. Like the speed, yeah, the speed is nice. The boost is nice, things of that nature. But the boost is like the second most important stat in the class next to acceleration for the most part, and handling is the most important. We have just a vehicle that has the lowest of everything, or the second lowest of everything basically, and it doesn't do anything good besides handle well. And I think that's what makes it so bad, because like at least with Amy's car, it has more acceleration and it almost hits 42 boost, which is huge. Like yeah, 15 speed, it loses 3 speed over 18, whatever, but like I know that matters in the long term, but like the fact that Amy's car has better boost, better acceleration, and still maintains the same handling, I feel like it might just be better as a quick recovery car for that reason. And also, just remember the stipulation, we can't put the same vehicle in one of the first 3 tiers, so we can't put Amy's car, we can't put Moto Beetle, so we have to pick something else. I think Lip Spider is the only thing that actually fits because of the stat distribution. Like yeah, let's maybe like real quick, we'll look at Fossil Rock. Fossil Rock has 15 speed, so it's slower, but it has 6 more acceleration, loses 6 handling, but again, handling's the highest stat, doesn't matter too much. 24 so it's the same power, and then has 39 boost, which is the highest boost stat, or the second highest boost stat in the class, with Ancient Throne being the highest. So the fact of the matter is, no matter how you slice it, Lip Spider just misses out on every mark that it should have been able to hit, and other vehicles just outdo it in some way, shape, or form. I think that
vehicle is tactfully not engaged right now.
The only like thing that this can tactically do is tactically drive into the dumpster, man. Like it's so unfortunate, and I love this car so much because it's such a cool design. It looks so nice.
I do see people mix it and match it a lot with Lip Spider. Mainly Lip Spider mixed with Hot Hatch.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a good combo. It looks cool. Like, you can do the front and the back of both, and it looks nice. You can put any of the handling car wheels, Ancient Throne wheels. Dude, people really love using Ancient Throne wheels on everything. And Neolitron.
Neolitron wheels, yeah.
Yeah, both of those have some of the coolest looking wheels in the class. But, like, you see a lot of Lip Spider Hot Hatch part mixing because it just is such a cool vehicle combo. All right, so we have our 3 main contenders for the worst of each category. We unfortunately have to pick a general worst, and this is where it gets kind of tough now because we did talk about
everything's back on the list.
Yeah, everything's back on the list by technicality, but like as we said with all of these other ones, we can already mark out literally this whole right half of the list. Like we could literally just do this. We could just go on. All right, so we don't even have this half of the list. I'm not doing that. I need these.
Don't.
But we don't even have that right half of the list, basically, because all these vehicles just do something better than the other 3 worst vehicles that we've chosen. So let's just potentially do some contenders talk. So if we're going to pick a general worst handling vehicle, let's say we're too decisive with Lip Spider, Moto Beetle, and Pink Carolette. We're just way too decisive on these, right? The only 2 vehicles that could even be in contention are Victoria Carriage and maybe like Sonic Speed Neolitron, because Sonic Speed Neolitron's kind of shit. Like I hate to say that, but like it's kind of bad. Like I don't know, because in Super Sonic Speed it's super good. It just hits a lot of the good stats. Same thing with Minecart. But like in Sonic Speed, Neolitron is kind of like it's kind of mediocre comparatively. Because like we could think that Neolitron Sonic Speed is worse than it is, but I don't know. I think it just might be good enough to pass the marks. But again, I could be overassuming it because I have too much bias from Super Sonic Speed. But we could bring Neolitron back into contention because we could have like shoved it out too early for Sonic Speed because of Super Sonic Speed theory crafting, which if we did that specifically, there is a chance that Moto Beetle's better than it in Sonic Speed because of the fact that it has 39 acceleration to the 42. So it could be a lot harder to actually handle getting hit from people that use level 4. Even though it has less power stat dumped into it, the fact that you have less acceleration might be a problem maker, or like literally a troublemaker, but it does have 60 handling, so I think it might be hard to just bring this back in contention, you know what I mean?
No, I hear you and everything. Just like, also, I wanted to jump in so hard and just say, but we let Neolitron have a pass because it's a cool looking car, but respectfully, we can't do that because I see a lot of people using Neolitron and they don't care about the stats enough to say like, yeah, the stats were really bad here, but too bad like the car design though.
Yeah, the silver car is kind of nice, like genuinely.
It's one of the best looking vehicles in this game. You can't even hate on it.
No, you can't. And it's got some pretty good min-max stats. Like, I think even in Sonic Speed, it is much worse in Sonic Speed compared to Super Sonic Speed, I would argue. But I think, because in Super Sonic Speed, I'm just going to go on a quick tangent. In Super Sonic Speed, because you're going faster, your drifts charge a lot faster, so you actually don't need as much a boost stat. It's nice to have more boost stat. Like, genuinely, it actually is pretty nice to have a higher boost stat, but it's not necessary to have, like, a super high boost stat, but it's not bad to have a better boost stat, genuinely. you want more. You want to have like enough handling to take your corners correctly, while having a good amount of speed and enough boost to get your charges up as fast as possible. And Neo Lightron kind of has just the best of everything. It kind of min maxes everything pretty well. And just supersonic speed is you need a lot of handling.
You know what? I have a legit. I'm sorry for cutting in again, right? Joker, I have to ask you this right now, right? Have you mastered snap drifting at all yet in this game?
Yep.
Okay, so mind you, I haven't been able to manage this right here. I've been taking the most scuff turns possible and basically trying to do the best I can. So can you say with utmost certainty, can you snap drift with Neo Lightron with the highest handling stat it has?
Yeah, I can snap drift with the power vehicles as well.
Okay, so in that, so would you say handling, yeah, high handling would be better just to help in make sharper turns so you can get ahead in the track then, especially with multiplayer active?
Yeah, with handling, you're allowed, the higher handling stat allows you to make your turns a lot better, and it makes it easier to take tighter turns without having to worry about spinning out. The lower the handling is, the harder it is to take correct lines, and so you have to implement like acceleration tapping, brake tapping, things of that nature, which it's not good to do, but it's a good thing to do on the fly if you have to correct yourself. It's a nice course correction tool, which Moto Beetle would probably have to do that more than the Neo Lightron would. And I think that's what makes Moto Beetle just, it has to stick in its category. Maybe Victoria Carriage could take over and be worse, but I don't think it can. I think Moto Beetle is just the worst in its category, and I think that same follows for the other two in their categories.
Like, now I'm thinking about it respectfully, yeah, and just like, okay, if say for example, if you're able to consistently snap drift every turn you can in any racetrack, right, then I would say, yeah, Neo Lightron, anything that has a 60 base handling stat would be like safe from the chopping block, correct, right? Then that would just lead to the call of being maybe it's either Ancient Throne or the Minecart.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the problem is Minecart's stats are actually just better overall when it comes because boost matters so much in this game. Same thing with Ancient Throne. I think the fact that Ancient Throne almost has 10 more boost than Moto Beetle actually makes it to where Moto Beetle just can't compete. Like 10 more boost is a huge difference, like astronomically different. I mean, 6 boost itself, because it goes from 33 to almost 40, that's a huge difference because you're hitting the soft cap almost. Like you can feel 10 boost. You really can. Like that's a huge thing. You can't really feel 6 speed. Like to say the least, you like if I were driving a vehicle that has 20 speed and I went to a 50 speed vehicle, it's almost impossible to tell a major difference. It's a more minor difference, but if you go from a vehicle with like 30 boost to a vehicle with 45, 50, it is so night and day. You can tell like immediately your drift boost charge faster and it feels more fluid and doesn't feel as clunky. You can easily feel. I mean, the power vehicle builds that I run, if I'm not at least 60 boost, it feels awful to take a boot or try to make any like drifts at all. It's horrible to get drift boost.
No, okay. So okay, you make a fair argument on that one. So if that's the case, then if boost is like because like I've seen it before with the speed vehicles and the acceleration vehicles, right? The speed stat barely makes a difference. Not only does every vehicle cap out almost nearly 2-3 numbers off each other until you get max rings, because that's when you start seeing the big difference. I will agree with the boost stat changing up a lot right now. So if that's the case, then we gotta look for a vehicle with the lowest boost stat and a relatively bad at handling, which leaning towards it right now has to go back either towards Victoria Carriage or Moto Beetle.
I think Moto Beetle just kind of takes it, like, genuinely speaking, I think just the fact that it has 6 less handling on average compared to some of the other vehicles, if not 3, like, I don't know. I feel like having less handling, less boost, and the lowest acceleration in the class, basically, or the second lowest, like, yeah, 21 speed's nice, but having less acceleration, less handling, and less boost compared to most vehicles, if not having the lowest of the class nearly in all 3 categories, if not second lowest, probably. I mean, power, it's got like the highest, but its handling is, I think, the second or third lowest. It's like dead smack in the middle. Its acceleration is the second lowest, nearly the lowest. Its speed is the highest, which is nice, but its boost is the lowest. I feel like the fact that it has the lowest boost and nearly the lowest acceleration and a middling handling stat for the class, I think just makes it universally just worse for all 3 build types. Like, I don't think there's any reason to use Moto Beetle unless you're trying to have fun or you like how the parts look. I think if you were to mix Moto Beetle with Moto Beetle with like Neo Lightron to get more handling, or like Lip Spider, I think you can make something work with Moto Beetle. But I think as a base vehicle, I think Moto Beetle just cannot do it. Like, I think Moto Beetle just doesn't have the stats it needs.
As much as I want to argue with this so much, I agree with you, because I have tried using default Moto Beetle online so many times, and I have been basically scrapped in the middle of the road every time because of it. You are correct. I have my Moto Beetle setup, right, is literally the Moto Beetle front, Neolitron back, and Lip Spider tires. And that's what's been carrying me in so many races if I ever have to use a, not a gag vehicle, but like, you know, just something to, say like, yeah, I got a handling vehicle, and then it just shows up as a gaudy mess.
Yeah, and I think like, if you want like one of the better mixes, funny enough, I feel like Ancient Throne actually is like a really good mix because of its high boost. Each part is getting like, what is it, like 3 more boosts per part and like 2 more acceleration roughly, while losing like 2 speed. Like seriously,
4 boosts, but never mind.
Yeah, no, it's almost 4 boosts, but like you're getting 3 more boost, 2 more acceleration while losing like 2 speed and 1 handling. I feel like if you're gonna mix parts, and you also lose I think 2 power. I think if you're gonna mix Moto Beetle and try to make it viable, you mix it with Ancient Throne because of the high disparity between acceleration and boost. Genuinely, like I think 1 or 2 parts thrown with the Moto Beetle, I think could actually be pretty good. Like genuinely, I think it could be pretty viable as like a middling tier to like maybe even potentially like semi. Like I don't know how to put it, but it could actually make Moto Beetle viable as more than just like the bottom. It just balances out its stats a little bit better, and it makes it easier to actually utilize. Yeah, you're gonna lose a little bit of handling, which sucks, but you're getting more acceleration, so you can take more hits more consistently. And you're getting more boost, so you can take better turns. And I think it's a worthwhile trade-off, genuinely, for even if you're losing a little bit of handling and speed.
All right, Joker, I gotta stop right here. Unfortunately, this is not a video about talking about every mixed vehicle as possible, so we gotta put in the worst vehicle. So you gotta put in an extra copy of the Moto Beetle.
Oh man, the Moto Beetle. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a stats.
It was the first bad nick we ever saw in game. I was not surprised by this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because I actually think this car looks really cool. It's just like, it's just not it. It's a nice looking car. I think it's interesting, but the stats just they don't lie. Like genuinely, it's just really hard to make this function with quick recovery. It's hard to make it function with bagging, and it's hard to make it function with level 4 or against level 4. It just misses out on all the marks. And even if we were to talk about like what vehicle is the worst to use with level 4, it's literally just Moto Beetle immediately. Like we don't even have to contest. Like Moto Beetle would just literally be like, if we could, it would just be boom, 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 all 3, because it really just doesn't have the stats for quick recovery. It doesn't have the stats for bagging. It doesn't even have the stats to use with and against level 4. I think genuinely, Moto Beetle's got to be it.
It has to be like a build where you have to build a ring speed based build on it, like a hybrid of a quick recovery somewhat, but not entirely. Like you either run quick recovery entirely with it to save whatever stats it has, and you run a full ring build just to help it keep up with speed and everything else going on.
Yeah, it's a shame because I feel like there could be more to it, but unfortunately, it just misses the mark. I mean, every great invention's got to have a few prototypes, and I think Moto Beetle was the prototype.
You know, I just point out right now, I love how we never brought up the paddy wagon or Pac-Man's vehicle at all throughout this entire video. Like, I think we both looked at the vehicle stat numbers and just realized, yeah, these are really good vehicles. We can just pass on them.
I think it's funny. We talked about paddy wagon for a second, but it's only because paddy wagon, we literally said that it's a good TT vehicle. That's it, and it really is. It's just like a Neolitron with a little more boost and a little less and a big difference in handling. But like Pac-Mobile, we can't even talk about how bad it is because it's literally got better power, better acceleration, better speed, and like worse handling, but better boost than like the other cars that were in contention.